And we are back, episode 40 of Journey to a Million, number 40 here on a Tuesday at 3:12 p.m. What's going on? Why are we recording at this time, you might be wondering? And it's a wild time. I mean, Jared's the easy answer for this, but the long answer that we'll talk about more. Zack's in college now, moved in. I myself, if you watch Drew's baseball crew, I was in a different spot. I mean, I'm a whole new spot right now. Moved over a little bit here to the right. So I'm in college and Jared's at home. So, but you might be wondering, yeah, he's the reason a little bit. But how are you guys doing here on this Tuesday afternoon / evening?
Doing good.
Just splendid.
Would you say you're thriving? Use code J2M, begin your journey to a million. We gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about that football contest they got rolling out, and it starts next Thursday. So go check that out. Contests, how they work. You got over unders for certain players. Everyone can choose from them. There's like 15 players, 15 props. You choose your favorite 10, and then you choose 2 backups in case those don't go through, and you just roll it out. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and you can win some money, and go prop up. Go join us in our journey to a million. Again, J2M at Drew Sports Crew. You can go check on there. We have a link. We have the links of where you can go, or just contact us individually on that at Zack. You can see it, Zeroush21. There's Jared's. I'll let you see Jared's for a little bit. That's it though. Oh, hold on. There we go. Now okay, there's Zack's again. So you can go talk to Zack as well. But that's kind of for the announcement portion here. I want to roll and talk about best ball. You might be wondering, what is best ball? We were going to do a best ball draft today, but I guess, Zack, you threw some shade at Jared. Jared, maybe you can throw some shade at Zack. I mean, Zack's having some technical difficulties, so you will not be getting
always. As always, yeah.
But he is live right now. I mean, this is a miracle. We are live right now, and Zack has not lagged out yet. So that's at least a plus to look at. But we're talking best ball. We're going to be doing a live draft though on Underdog at a later date. It got postponed, unfortunately, but just keep that in mind if you're interested. We had actually some people interested and reached out, but we had to cancel with having some issues here. But again, thank you to everyone who reached out, but we will be sure to have you on at a later date. So let's go. We're going to start with talking best ball. We're still going to talk about it so we can make that live draft a lot smoother when it goes through. So what is best ball? Best ball is exactly, what someone who likes drafting would do. It basically takes out the waiver wire, takes out trades, takes out lineups, and you just draft your lineup. You draft players on your bench, and basically the highest scoring players get the starting spot for you each week, and you gain points for the week that way. And then sometimes you're playing against people. Sometimes it's like season long. So like it'll be total points the whole year, basically per week. There's some options with that depending on how you play. I guess, do you guys have a preference of that? Would you rather do like season long where you're playing against everyone else, or you're doing more of a head-to-head style?
I kind of prefer head-to-head. Like I would like going against like one person per week, and then like you split the cash prize that week, and then you just go on to another, the next week. Because I just feel like you have one bad week and you're just out of the running, but it works both ways. I don't know. I prefer head-to-head, but I'm not against the whole best ball style that Underdog has.
I mean, if you do like just total points for the total week, or like the total year, points throughout the year, I think that you really got to draft a good team that's going to be good every week. So you can't be inconsistent, just win 7-8 weeks or whatever, make the playoffs and then do good. You really got to be good the whole year. And I think that kind of adds value to good drafting.
And that's also why I couldn't draft like Breece Hall, because like it's not consistent. Michael Carter's starting, I guess. And there goes Zack. Maybe is he still here?
Yeah, the margin of error, I guess, going back to Zack's point, is Zack's still here, but the margin of error is certainly a lot less when you are drafting in that aspect. But with best ball, I guess to talk about it more, Underdog, we got to credit here. They're the main ones who have this best ball. I don't know if they're really the founders, but they have driven the best ball world by storm with what they've done on that. They've been doing some great things. So we're going to utilize that platform. But then, that's why we bring you to Thrive. If you want to do the contest style, if you want to do like best ball, we recommend Underdog personally. That's kind of where, they're kind of like in their own league in that aspect. They're certainly just doing great things there for that. But yeah, best ball is something we like here. I know Jared just finally did a draft. I was talking about some of the drafts I've done recently. Zach, you've done best ball before, right?
I've done one or two. I haven't done any this year yet, but I'll be looking to get into that once I can get my underdog situation figured out.
Yeah, the live draft. Hopefully you'll be a part of that one. But I've done best ball. I actually did it once last year. Took second place. Had a very good team. And which we'll talk about my strategy and other strategies. Let's go into that right now. But I went Hero RB last year. That's kind of what won it for me. And also getting Cooper Cup really late. I think I got him like in the 5th round. So talk about a steal there. I think he was pretty much going in the 5th though last year. But I went Hero RB in that. I took 2 solid. I like Dalvin Cook, and then I don't even know who else I had. But I went maybe Eckler. I got somehow. I don't know. It was weird how that worked last year. But Hero RB is what I did, and that ended up getting for me. I got pass catchers like I mentioned Cooper Cup, who performed well late. I'll talk about some of the best ball drafts I have gotten done this year so far. But I guess, is there a specific strategy? Because we'll talk about like the strategy with positions, like in the aspect of how many you want. But first, I'm talking like specific positions. Is there like a strategy? Do you try to go hero RB? Do you punt tight end? What do you do, Zach? I'll start with you.
I guess I try and get kind of a little bit of every position. That's my favorite thing in kind of the best ball drafts, just so I don't have one position that's lacking behind, because I think every position you can find value late. Like receivers, you can have guys like Cooper Cup that you get in the 5th and they're number 1 overall receiver. There's going to be guys that you can get in the 8th, 9th rounds that are going to produce for you. Same with running back. You can get those handcuffs that they're going to produce if the main guy goes down. They're going to have some standalone value. So I kind of like to just kind of, I guess, diversify my roster, get a little bit of everything, and then just kind of dry it out.
What do you do, Jared?
So this was my first best ball draft I've ever done, and I found a nice strategy. Actually, what I did, I went to my tight end. So I got Mark Andrews in the 2nd round, which might seem like a reach, but I had to.
Yep.
So I thought as the rounds went on, I had to get my receivers and running backs. So I thought, do I need another tight end? Like, I'm going to take one later for my bye week, but like, who's going to outvalue Mark Andrews on my team? Like, he's probably going to put up the most points anyways. So I kind of just put off tight end a little bit, got my 1 tight end, then I went receivers and running backs, quarterbacks, and then I came back and I got Noah Fant, which isn't the best, but I mean, I got someone that can be a fill-in for the bye week. I don't think anyone that I would have gotten that far down would have outproduced Mark Andrews anyways. So that's kind of the strategy I use, so I could just stash some receivers and running backs then.
So going off the tight ends, Jared, what I tend to do, it's really a lot of, I mean, it's really different from that, basically, is how I'd sum it up. What I do, which I like, hero tight end can work, right? I mean, looking in past tight ends, maybe this year could be one of the best years to do it, right? With guys like Kelsey and Andrews, especially going as high as they are. But what I like to do is I like to get 3 tight ends on my roster, maybe 4. That might sound like a lot, but like, if you think about it, there's weeks where tight ends will, like, a lot of inconsistency with the tight end position. If I can get 4 guys who I think could break out. So in this 12-team one, I got Cole Kmet, Irv Smith, Austin Hooper, and Cameron Brate. 4 guys who I think could break out. I mean, Brate.
See, those are 4 decent tight ends. Like, they're not like an outstanding tight end that you can like rely on. I like that strategy too. I don't think anyone in my league actually had 4 tight ends. I think some people had 3, most had 2. So I was kind of also following what they did, because this is my first time ever doing a best ball draft. So I was like looking for some guidelines along the way too. But I do see that, because like if you have 4 decent tight ends, any one of them can break out every week. I might be relying on Mark Andrews a little too much, but once again, it's my first time ever doing this.
I do not advocate doing the 4 tight end if you get a guy like Mark Andrews, or even 3 tight end. I mean, maybe 3 tight end, but like the reason I kind of went with that, I got Brate and Hooper with like my last 2 picks, but you have to have solid receivers, solid running backs in order to like pull that off. Even mix up, like Zach said, diversify. That's the beauty of best ball. That's probably like the golden rule of best ball, in my opinion, mixing guys with high floors, but yet getting guys with high ceilings. And what we mean by that. So my running backs, I got like Leonard Fournette's, one of my guys, pretty high floor. And then I also have Damian Pierce, Zamir White. So I kind of like have those two guys there. So I tried to pair them. I got Leonard Fournette, I got the high floor guy, I got Pierce, who has a pretty high ceiling, I'd say, but we don't know where his floor might be. It's certainly lower than Fournette's, Zamir White. And then I also got David Montgomery in there as well. I guess, what do you think about that running back pair? Is that something you guys try to do, high floor with some high ceiling?
Running backs were tough for me. Yeah. I got Eckler actually first round, so I got a solid running back, and then I kind of just, Travis Etienne's not bad. He's good second. But after that, it was kind of tough. So I kind of just took players that could have breakout years. Cordell Patterson is my third, which is kind of rough, and then Melvin Gordon, solid backup. It's pretty bad, but I had six running backs. J.D. McKissick's my fifth, and then Darrell Williams is my sixth. So it wasn't the best.
Darrell Williams, he's an RB3. Yeah, Benjamin even has that spot.
He was 204. He was my 197th pick. He was my last pick, I'm pretty sure.
Was that a 12 team, Jared?
Yeah, 12 team.
Okay.
Actually, he was my second last pick. I got a backup quarterback. I got Davis Mills, third string.
So let me ask you a question. It's best ball's half PPR, which I guess I didn't mention right away. I apologize for not mentioning that, but having in half PPR, does that, obviously it's going to affect you less than a PPR league, like in terms of like looking for those reception guys. But how much did you value that when you were drafting? Did you take that into account at all?
I was still going to take Eckler. I know he's a big pass catcher, so he's going to help either way. But then Travis Etienne, you go with him. I didn't really factor it in too much. He's still a young rookie. He's going to put up the numbers. I don't know if he's a big pass catcher yet. I haven't seen much out of him, but I didn't really factor it in that much.
I look for a lot of volume, maybe, and this might be a flaw of me looking, and when I see PPR, maybe I'm looking for too much, volume, guys who are going to get a lot of targets, even with it being half. I still value that maybe more than I should. So my receivers ended up Justin Jefferson, great. DJ Moore, awesome. But the other two guys, my wide receiver threes is where I wanted to hear your thoughts. Deontay Johnson, Robert Woods in a 12 team. Is that what do you guys think? Both those guys, that they're going to get a lot of targets, in my opinion. Is that how you kind of approach it? Get guys with a lot of volume, or who we think are going to have a lot of volume, even though it's half PPR. Is that something you'd still do? Like guys like Mooney, I'd throw in there as well, and McLaurin.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Yep.
Are you for that, Zack?
The same as you did.
I guess both those guys that you mentioned with Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson, I don't know how high their floor is. I think they could also be, both of them can turn out to be bust this year. I think just because Robert Woods, he's 30, he's recovering from torn ACL. Usually it takes receivers a year to come back to full production from before that. Now, Woods does have a great situation in Tennessee where Tannehill's not the greatest quarterback, but he can get the job done. And who's he competing with for targets? You got Treylon Burks, who's a rookie. So I think he's going to get the targets like you mentioned. I just don't know how well he's going to do with those. So I think he's going to definitely kind of add points to your team some weeks, but I think there's going to be quite a few weeks where he doesn't produce for you. So I guess it's at that point just comes down to, I guess, pretty much luck on your end. Just if Robert Woods and Deontay Johnson get the targets the same week or different weeks.
So I think it's always just good having them on your team, though, just in case one of them breaks out a week, and then you can, have that little cushion, I guess.
Well, for the roster construction, so you start each week. We should probably add this: 1 quarterback, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back. Sorry, I did this flip flop. 1 tight end, 1 flex, 10 bench spots. So if you think about that, you're starting for sure 3 wide receivers. It's half PPR, and it just depends on points, right? You don't really set your lineup, but would you prefer to go heavy wide receiver? Like I'd say, wide receiver heavy. So you're really starting 4 wide receivers a week, or would you prefer to just go to 2 running backs and maybe even have 3 a week? Is there a preference there, or like how would you approach that with being PPR?
I saw both. I saw both in my league. when I started drafting, there was someone that had like one quarterback, one running back, like 5 receivers, and a tight end. I was like, I don't know about that. They were stashing receivers pretty high. So I mean, I think that having the 3, you could possibly start 4 receivers a week with the flex. So I think that's why I went 6 running backs, 7 receivers, just to have that extra person that could possibly, get some points. So I think receivers heavy, especially I mean, not too many running backs that are going to get the receptions that receivers do. So I think having the receivers highly valued is going to be the extra step that some teams might need.
I still think you got to start like your first 5 picks. You should get your 2 starting running backs. You should get your 2 starting receivers, and then either a tight end or quarterback, one of the 2, whichever you choose, whatever. And then I think you need to have at least 1, preferably 2 of kind of the middle range running backs, kind of like Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Pierce, guys that they'll have weeks where they might have 20, 25 points, something like that. They're going to have those good weeks, but then they're also going to have weeks where they might be under 5 points, kind of like that. And then there's also a lot of those middle range receivers that can provide value to your team. So I think in the first probably 10 rounds, you want kind of like 4 and 4 for running backs, receivers, and then like a tight end quarterback. I guess that's my strategy when I go into it in the first couple rounds, and after that, it's pretty much just who I like where.
So I tried doing that. I mean, I want to know what you guys think about this because my first pick was Eckler. Then I went Mark Andrews with my second. I had the 5th pick, so I got Eckler at 5, then Andrews at 20, and then I had to go receiver. And the best available was AJ Brown. I wasn't too excited about it, but he's my receiver number 1.
Was DJ Moore available?
No, he was. Oh wait, yeah, he was. He was. I'm not as high as him like you are, but
did you take him over? Like I'm assuming Pittman was gone.
He was gone. Yeah, I was gonna take Pittman, and he went like 2 before AJ Brown did.
I'm fine with Brown.
Yeah.
I'm not an AJ Brown hater. I still think you got yourself a top 15 receiver for sure. I mean, I think AJ Brown. I still don't know like floor wise. That's the other thing for me. Like
I think he's gonna be inconsistent.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because what if that offense? I know they're gonna be passing more as the talk in camp, and they've been passing more. But what if they run the ball as much as they did last year? AJ Brown finishes as a what wide receiver? I mean, that's a question right now. Fill in the blank.
Yeah,
20.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Zach. I think that's gonna hurt his value. That's actually myself being a dynasty holder. A little concerned about this first year. I know they played, and I know AJ Brown's looks like the best receiver in camp. I get that, but if they're not running passing plays, he's not going to be getting the ball. As simple as that sounds, that's just how it is. Quarterback.
What are you guys' concerns in best ball? What do you think of like injuries? Because I know AJ Brown's had some injury issues in the past. I mean, last year he missed it was like 4 or 5 games, something like that. Is that something you guys factor into it?
So, that's what I hate about my team, because you'll be surprised. After AJ Brown, I went Travis Etienne, good, and then my next receiver was Michael Thomas. And
did you give him a discount?
I did, yeah. He's coming off an injury. I had to get him at that point. He was like the last one up there, so I was like, let's just take him. So my whole team is based on injuries, basically. If they stay healthy, I'm good. And then I got Christian Kirk after that with the next pick. So
that's one of the big things about.
Then I went Trey Lance, and I got Christian Kirk.
Okay,
so.
yeah, we like that too.
Yeah.
What would you say, Zach?
That's like one of the big things at best ball, I guess, is if there is somebody that gets injured. Say you take one of your top 2 running backs gets injured, out for the season. I mean, that dampens your team luck because there's nothing you can do about it. So
it's all luck, yeah.
Exactly. I value injury. So I took Miles Sanders actually in this one. I really try to pair guys with pretty good injury history, but at running back especially, just to throw out position, it is hard to find running backs with limited, maybe with a safe injury history. Like I just don't think that exists, to be honest. And if it does, you're looking at the rookies. You're looking at those guys who maybe, like that's why I took Zamir White, Damian Pierce, those 2 guys, because I think Zamir White, look, Jacobs gets injured, and it sounds like Zamir White's going to have a role from the get-go, at least is what we're hearing. Damian Pierce, we'll talk about it in the news when we get to that. It sounds like Damian Pierce, he's RB1 in Houston. Yeah. It happened. It's crazy stuff. Didn't Bernie Vandenhoevel take him in a rookie draft?
7th overall. Yeah, 7th overall.
Yeah.
Good for him. Some good
Works
value
out.
there. Sometimes things are crazy. That's just how it works out. But look, in best ball, otherwise, I mean, we kind of tell you why you should join it, right? I mean, if you like drafting, you just roll it out through there. I guess I want to talk about quarterback a little bit before we start talking about some of the news. So quarterback position, you start one, right? I would rather do 2 quarterback and 3 tight end than 3 quarterback and 2 tight end. Does that make sense? Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Yes and no. I agree. But once again, when I had Mark Andrews and I had
Okay.
like a player like Trey Lance and I got Jameis Winston with my second quarterback, I was like, the last pick I could have went tight end or quarterback, and I went Davis Mills just to have a nice backup on there. So I did take 3 quarterbacks over 3 tight ends, but it depends it really depends what tight end you get. Like we talked about, if you're getting like borderline, like top 10 tight ends, then you want to have like more. But if you have an elite tight end, you're going to want to have more probably quarterbacks.
I think that's the same thing with quarterbacks. If you get one of the top like 6, 7 quarterbacks, like what are the chances that somebody else is going to outscore them one week? I mean, it's probably pretty low. So as long as you get those 2 quarterbacks that do start, and also with quarterbacks, you really don't have to worry about injuries much, just because the nature of the position, they don't get injured.
And
it's just you can do the same thing as you do with tight end.
Yeah, and in this 12-team league I was in today, the draft, Josh Allen went 2nd round. Patrick Mahomes went right after him, and then Herbert went 3rd round. I'm like, that's just stupid. So I couldn't, play my draft any way I wanted to.
Yeah. No. I will always punt quarterback in best ball, it seems. And it's just because the value, I hate it. I hate the value they're going at. So my 2 quarterbacks in this 12-team best ball, Kirk Cousins, Trevor Lawrence. What do you think?
I think Kirk Cousins is going to be he's the floor guy, and then Trevor Lawrence is the upside guy.
There you go, Zach. That's kind of, that was the approach, and it kind of got thrown a little bit for a ride. But I ended up with those 2. I'm fine with it in a 12-team. You obviously I would want a better floor guy than Cousins maybe, but I'm fine with that. I still think Cousins could finish top 12. He'd be more in the latter part.
He's underrated as a fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
Especially with O'Connell coming in, and if they're going to more pass happy offense, like he could improve even more.
And actually there's another thing I want to talk about. Stacking. Listen to the stack I did. Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Irv Smith is what I did. So you might be wondering, why would you stack? Well, when I stack, I always think about daily fantasy baseball. You try to stack 3 players, right, with an offense that you think is going to do well, because player A, gets a base hit. Player B, it's a home run. You get points for player A and player B. Essentially, in this, Kirk Cousins gets a passing touchdown for Justin Jefferson. Boom, I get double the points. It's an aspect you'll see. Some people will do this even in the last best ball championship. So like the best ball mania, the big events or whatever, they will pair a good receiver and a good quarterback who have a great matchup, like the best ball championship, basically. So they can stack it. It's, you could go about that, I guess, stacking. Are you for it? I personally, it's not something I'm really hunting, but if I see it and I think I can pursue it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. In baseball, it's what you need to do to win the big money. You look at the top teams and everyone's stacking. My only problem with that is I had Trey Lance and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk were both off the table. So I'm not stacking anyone else at that point. So I couldn't stack, but I did stack Jameis. He was gone. He was 3rd tight end, and I had Mark Andrews, or 4th tight end behind Kyle Pitts. But I do have a little stack. I have Jameis Winston, and then I do have Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. I got pretty late too, so I do have a little stack. That. So that's something.
Yeah,
but,
Chris Olave.
Yeah,
he could be rookie wide receiver 1 this year. So hopefully. It could happen. It could happen. There's a lot of guys, a lot of great receivers, but I want to talk about stacking there. I guess Zach, we'll get back to you on that. Well, there he is. We don't have to get back to him. There he is. Zach, so what is your thoughts about stacking? Are you pursuing it? Do you like it?
I mean, if the value's there, yeah. I'm not gonna go like rounds 1 and 2, take Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. I think it's just the cost on that stack is too high. And I think Josh Allen's always going to be targeting multiple guys. We saw it last year with Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley. They all got their fair share of targets too. But I think if you get one of those top tier receivers, and then you can, like kind of like the Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, if you can get that receiver in the first, second round, and then get their quarterback in the eighth, ninth, something like that. I mean, why not go for it? Because at that point, it can quite possibly be your second quarterback as well.
And also to add to that, the only thing that's wrong with stacking in best ball is like the bye week. You're gonna have a lot of buys on the same week, and then you just take a big hit that week. But it could still work out.
And that's and that depends. If you're doing the best ball where like you play against someone like the week without like right, it more depends on that because you begin just a loss that week in that aspect even, or like if you're doing total points, maybe you'd be more. I mean, best ball or stacking would be more appealing to you, I'd say. But we're going to kind of transition here, guys. We're going to go through and we're going to talk about some news. So this first piece coming from ESPN, the Washington Commanders. This was a big story that happened this past week. The running back, Brian Robinson, right? We heard about him. He was released from the hospital yesterday, so that'd be Monday, one day after being shot twice in an armed robbery attempt. So great news there for Robinson. The team right now, this is what ESPN's reporting, remains optimistic about his chances of playing this season. Of course, we wish Brian Robinson the best. An unfortunate situation there in Washington. And I guess with it, guys, what do you guys think about this? So they're optimistic about his chances playing. Do we think he's going to end up playing? I think there's a chance later in the year. Certainly it's going to be this first 4 to 6 weeks for sure. I don't think we're going to be seeing any of Brian Robinson. Unfortunately.
No, I think that, good that he's still in okay. Surgery went well, but I think that they're not going to rush it. They're going to ease into it. And I think that Gibson will be their starter and they'll be fine with that. They're not going to try to rush Robinson back before he's fully healthy. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Obviously getting healthy for Brian Robinson is first priority way over football right now. So until he gets back to full health, he's probably not going to be back. I don't think the Commanders are going to want him back until he is fully healthy, just because they do have Gibson. I don't think they're going to be pushing for anything great, or as like in the Super Bowl. I don't think they'll be pushing for going deep in the playoffs. But I think, if you're looking at just fantasy value, Brian Robinson, if you're making a play at him late in the season, maybe. But otherwise, I think Gibson's going to go back to what his value was before Brian Robinson started coming out and playing great in the preseason. So I think Gibson's going to go back to that. I think it's like fifth round value, something like that.
Does J.D. McKissic's value go up then too? I would guess
it does. Yes.
Backup?
Yep. His value stems right in PPR. That's where I'd be taking him. Half PPR, no. It has to be PPR for me for McKissic. I don't value as much with that Robinson.
Late pick. I got him in best ball. So
and with Robinson, it's looking right now. So he was shot in the glute and lower leg. That's what Ian Rappaport reports, and both are non-life threatening. And right. Zach, you hit it right in the nose. Football is not the important part right now. It's about his health, and Rappaport highlights that as well. But he for sure, and he is right now. Is this at least what Ian Rappaport's reporting? But again, this isn't the most important part. He has not been ruled out for playing at some point this season. So it could be in the picture. But right now, Robinson is going to be more of a guy you hold on to in your leagues. He's going to be a guy, at least in the dynasty setting, you're, of course, holding on. We've seen the talent from Robinson, a guy you would want on your squad for sure. But again, we're wishing Brian Robinson the best here from Journey Million. But let's go through some more news here, guys. NFL Rumors was the account we talked about from a few weeks ago. We utilized, I think it was even last week, actually. And we're going to be doing their news lines here again. Go check them out. They will be linked down below here. It's at NFL Rooms. So it's RUMS or NFL Rums. The first, big news, they do a great job reporting highlights, camp standouts, all that great stuff. Everything for football. And going through it, the big news was with, of course, we talked about, or actually the one we wanted to talk about here, guys, was with Where is it? Alex Leatherwood. That was the one with him being released, the former first round pick. What do you guys think about that? I mean, moving on from Leatherwood already, he was a 2021 first round pick, I should add. So that's how quick this was. I mean, wow.
Yeah. I mean, they basically looked out, see if they could have traded him, and the report said they got 32 no's. So no one wanted him. Surprising. They were probably asking too much out of him, and he'll go on waivers, and maybe he'll clear waivers and go to their practice squad, but it's surprising.
Yeah, he wasn't one of my favorite picks in that after the 2021 draft was done, and it just continues the line of Raiders first round picks. If you keep going back and looking, they had that 1 year where they got Damian Arnett, they got Josh Jacobs.
I have it up here, Zach, if you want me to go through them. So this NFL Rumors did a great job going through this. Alex Leatherwood, released. 2020, Henry Ruggs, the third, released. Damon Arnett, released in 2020. And then Clelin Ferrell, his 5th year was declined. Jonathan Abram, 5th year declined. Josh Jacobs, 5th year decline. So there's your stat there, Zach. But what were you saying more about Leatherwood?
It's just I wasn't a big fan of him as a prospect coming out of Alabama, and then I think the Raiders reached on him a little bit as it was. And I mean, if they think they got the pieces around him, obviously he wasn't playing great, otherwise he wouldn't have got released. But if they got different plans, I mean, I guess that's kind of up to them. I feel like somebody will be taking a shot at him though, just because this year would be his 2nd year, so I think he does still have some upside, and somebody's going to take a shot at him.
I think so too.
I think the whole thing was that they were just asking for a lot out of him. Is there, like Zach said, that since he was just drafted in 2021, do they need to get a first out of him or something? Like, are they looking to probably try to fill that value that they took him at? I mean, I don't think anyone was willing to give up that much for him. So I think he won't clear waivers. I don't think. I think someone will swoop him up.
Yeah, that's looking like a likely possibility here for Leatherwood. Let's go to Houston. Talk about the Texans. Dameon Pierce right now with Jared's former running back, Marlon Mack, being released. Have to add that. Dameon Pierce, who I do hold in a dynasty league, will now be the starter for the Houston Texans.
That's surprising to me. Not Pierce, but Mack being released. That's kind of surprising because before Pierce's like ascension in training camp, he was projected to be their starter, right? Wasn't he? Yep. He was on the line for that. Yeah, that's
People
crazy.
were picking him up in dynasties right when drafts were ending. People were stashing him, and boom, he gets released. And Dameon Pierce is your guy, Zach. What do you think about giving the rookies RB1 there in Houston?
I mean, I think you still got to keep into account that it is the Houston Texans offense. They're not going to be a top 5 offense. Probably going to be bottom 10. So I think that's going to definitely hamper his value, but he's still going to get, as the RB1, he's going to get the value. He's going to get carries. He's probably going to get some receptions as well. So I think where he's going right now is like ninth round, something like that in redraft leagues. So I think his ADP is probably going to climb. I mean, we don't know how far it's going to climb yet, but it's something to keep an eye on. If it does start climbing up into the fifth round, I think that's
the
too
dead
high.
zone.
So
yeah,
I mean,
so that
it all depends how high it climbs.
About being not being on a good offense. I mean, you see like Christian McCaffrey, he makes it work. You know, like there's still value there. I think
I like that offense,
like,
Jared. Nope.
You like the.
More.
Oh, because of DJ Moore. Yeah,
no,
because
Baker Mayfield, I think, is gonna bring that offense at least to.
Drew's a big Baker Mayfield believer.
Is he?
Well, I think he could. I think he can make that offense a 10 through 20. Off 11 through 20, I should say. Maybe that might be a better way to put it. But I get where you're going with it, right? Offense, still. I mean, there's still gonna be offenses that can produce with poor running back talent. But more news here. It goes to, I want to talk about Denzel Mims. So this is with Zack's Jets. I guess we talked about Jared's Colts a little. Zack's Jets now. So Denzel Mims, it sounds like the Jets will not cut him and it sounds like they will trade him, is kind of what NFL rumors is reporting. I mean, we've heard Mims being linked to some teams, which caused his dynasty ads to just shoot through the roof. I guess, do we think Denzel Mims is going to end up getting traded? I know we'll talk about a trade later here with Laviska Shenault, who we actually talked about a few weeks ago, but Denzel Mims, is this really a big deal there with the Jets? He had a lot of upside, and now it just hasn't panned out for him in New York. Do you think he's on the move?
He did look good in their last preseason game, so that's a huge plus. I think if he goes to the right team, I wouldn't be opposed to the Packers making a little trade for him. Kind of depends what the Jets want in return. But I think if he goes to the right situation, he can still produce. He was a first round pick for a reason, or first round, second round, something like that.
He was a high pick, yes.
Yeah, he is a high pick for a reason. It's not like the talent's not there. It's just either situation or just a scheme. I don't know what it is, but he still has some value in other teams.
So
maybe the Packers could take him, add to that crowded receiving core they got there, right?
Can I throw another receiver in there? Jalen Reagor. His trade market is supposedly heating up from NFL rumors. Are we buying into this one? This is another guy who had at least a better camp for a guy who has been seen almost as a bust. I mean, I actually had him in a dynasty league. I mean, people have dropped him, and that's how it's been. I guess, what do you guys think with that? Do you think who's more likely to move, Reagor or Mims? I would ask. And Jared, who would your pick be?
I would think Mims is more likely to move. I think Reagor. I don't know. I think Mims is on the way out, like you said, coming to an end. I think they're going to explore what they can get for him. Reagor is just kind of like a see what we can get. Maybe if not, we can hold on to him. Still has some value, kind of like that.
Yeah, that could be the way. Zach, how would you go with that?
I would say I'll go with Reagor, just because he's shown some flashes. He's gotten the targets. His big issues drops. He's had crazy amount of drops. So we've seen receivers like that turn around in the past. So we saw Jamar Chase last year, couldn't catch anything in the preseason. Comes to the regular season and it's just phenomenal. We saw Devontae Adams. He used to have a big issue with drops as well. Now he's top receiver in the NFL. So I think teams are going to look at that and they're going to think that he still has potential as long as if he can reverse the whole drop issue and I guess learn how to catch the ball. I think he can be good.
He still has to learn. He hasn't gotten that part yet.
I mean, from how he's played, no.
Okay, we'll move through more news here. So Kenyon Drake, right? I mean, we knew he was going to get picked up. It was just a matter of when and not if. But he goes to the Ravens. So people picked up Mike Davis. Tough luck. Kenyon Drake's there. He is going to swoop up all of those pass catching abilities. Mike Davis will be sounds like he'll be just like a first down, maybe runner. We'll see. Davis's value certainly goes down with Drake getting scooped up, but I guess this is kind of more of an impact. I mean, I hate to not sound optimistic, but maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks this will impact at the start of the season. I don't see a lot of value in this. Maybe if you were looking for a hot start in a big league, like we're talking like 20-team league, maybe not 20, but like 14, 16-team league, maybe there you go. There's your running back.
You see the trend with the 32-team league going around? Maybe you could pick him up in like the 5th round of a 32-team league.
That's some good value there, Zach. Would you be on that?
I don't know why you'd want to do a 32-team league. We did a 16-team lag last year, and by like the 4th, 5th round, it's just guys that like you don't even know if they're gonna be.
That was fun.
They're gonna see. Yeah. Jay Ajayi.
Yeah. What if we did a 32-team auction draft?
Oh God, no.
I'm thinking 7 hours we just set aside for this.
More than that.
It's just a whole day.
It would be. That would be, and it's fab budget too. So you're running waiver wire. Oh, that would be something.
There would be no waiver wire if there's that many teams. Like the waiver wire would be like
you have like 2 bench spots,
25 roster spots.
I don't even know. That'd be hard to do. Otherwise, let's go through. There's 2 or 3 more news pieces I want to talk about. Bills releasing tight end OJ Howard. I wasn't surprised about this. Were you guys surprised OJ Howard got released? Didn't he get re-signed then, or wait, what happened with that? I guess what
Did he get resigned?
did he go like? There was OJ Howard was an interesting update because with him getting released, because
Let's look at the news.
they released him. He's not going anywhere.
No, though he's gone.
I just didn't
They
know
got
if
Dawson
he
Knox.
was.
He could have been he
Whatever.
would have been their third string backup. Is he their backup? Or is he their third? Would he have been? I don't know.
I think he would have been their backup for sure.
The Packers have been a team linked to them early. That's why I was checking if he got re-signed anywhere yet, just to make sure. But
A team might pick him up. Solid backup, if not third string. Why not?
yeah, Riley in the
If
chat
there's-
said, by the way, he said that sounds ridiculous regarding the 32 team style draft. Yeah, Riley, we would not be doing that. You know, maybe you could sit through one and tell us how long it took. You know, but OJ Howard is certainly right now not on a squad, but the Green Bay Packers could be a suitor. Zach and I are Green Bay Packers. How about that? But other news pieces had one more big one. Okay, Laviska Shenault is the big one, so you might not think it is, but
the what is it? Broken tackle man himself, right?
there you go,
Yeah.
Jared. You see, that's why we do games. Jared would not have been able to tell you that. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that, or Zach wouldn't have been able to tell you that. Before that game, we did it, and that's how it is. Laviska Shenault is a Carolina Panther for Colin Ratzak, his Carolina Panthers. So I sent you guys. I'm like, who does this hurt? I said right away. I was like, this hurts Robbie Anderson the most, right? That's where I would assess it as. DJ Moore, I don't think he's hurt by this.
Of
He's
course
still
he
got
don't,
his
yep.
wide
Yep.
receiver. You know, he's still going to be wide receiver 10 through 12. But otherwise, at least that's like his floor, I'd say. There you go. But
Matt, or what was his ceiling? 7?
yeah. Well, Zach somewhere got 6. I can live with 6. But I was like, holy crap, Zach, you're pushing it for me even. But with Laviska Shenault, right here, it's Robbie Anderson the most. Is that what consensus would say?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Sure.
Zach. Any other news pieces you guys wanted to talk about? We're over 40 minutes in already. This has been a great episode so far.
I mean, was it CJ Gardner-Johnson got traded to the Eagles? Right. Little something there.
Yeah, there's something that happened. That happened today, right?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened today, right? With today being the deadline. Matt Barkley was released by the Bills as well. Quarterback, legend.
Oh, Ian Book got released. That's something.
He played
Saints.
horrendous. I mean, it was
yeah.
tough.
He won me a league last year. I picked up, I think it was the Dolphins defense when they played the Saints, and they went off there. I think they got like 25 points or something like that. He won me a league, or won me a
Yeah.
week.
And also
Yeah, right.
Tyler Goodson, Packer running back, got cut
That was
too.
big. That was big news. But yeah, the trade. Jared mentioned right, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson going. With that trade, I guess let me pull up the full trade details on that. But anyone have initial thoughts seeing Gardner-Johnson
Yes,
get
Riley.
moved?
Riley, the Eagles are winning the NFC East this year.
Book it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Ian book it. If I can say that.
Zach's high on the Eagles.
Ah.
Yeah, Ian Book. Yeah.
Hey, they got a great roster, and the Gardner Johnson pick just makes it even better.
Their
I
only
think that
competition
was
was
one
the
of the-
Cowboys, and they didn't get much better. So
Yeah, Cowboys just getting worse and
Yeah.
worse by the day. Do you see the Cowboys dropped all their backup quarterbacks? The only quarterback they have in their roster.
they dropped
right now is Dak.
Ben DiNucci,
Cooper
right?
Rush.
I saw they. Yeah,
I
Ben
think he's on the
DiNucci?
practice squad. Yeah,
DiNucci. Yeah, I saw
yeah.
that.
Dak's their only quarterback on their roster right now.
That's
Might have to pick up like Tim Tebow or something.
Yeah, Nathan
that's gonna be-
Peterman got cut, so he's
He
out
did.
there.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's out there. He's out there. Jared, your squad are they? They don't.
How many
do they want
How many points do you lose for interceptions? Because he'll average like 3 or 4.
It could happen. So again, that trade, Philadelphia, they received Gardner Johnson and a Saints 7th round draft choice in 2025. Saints, they get the 5th round draft pick in 2023, and then it's like it's the lower of the 2 6th round picks in 2024 is how that trade worked. So I think that was great trade for Philadelphia. Many people enjoying that trade in the industry. Thank you, Riley and Jared, for mentioning that deal as well. But I guess Eagles are winning the NFC East is what we determined. We know the Packers are winning the North, and
They
we
just got
know
so much better. It's hard to say that the Cowboys still win that.
and we know that Zack is winning money off of Jared this year because of the bets they made. That's a given.
Guaranteed.
Colts
could owe
second
Zach-
AFC South.
I could owe Zach $20 after week 1 if the Colts lose.
It's
and
in
I could owe him
Jacksonville,
another.
correct?
No, it's
In Jacksonville?
Houston in Indianapolis against
Oh,
Houston,
Houston.
week 1. Week
When do
3
they play at
is
Jacksonville?
At Jacksonville is week 3.
What do you guys think about that? What I
Okay,
put up
so
there?
Week 3.
Whoa.
49ers?
That's what we're being told.
I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot of people saying like 49ers have. I think I saw a breakdown of who has the best chance to win the Super Bowl. I think 49ers were 5th or 6th. I think
It's too risky
I mean,
with
they're getting
Trey
hyped up
Lance.
a lot right now. I think Trey Lance is gonna have some growing pains. That's gonna lose him some games.
Yeah, it could happen, but
Guess what do we think with the Jimmy Garoppolo things? Him staying there?
He's the highest paid backup now, isn't he? That's
Like $6 million
Yeah.
or something.
Why
but
would
he's
he
not the best
stay with-
backup. Not the best. It's Gardner Minshew, best backup in football.
I mean, I think no. It said like you told me, Zach. The clause with Baker or with Jimmy Garoppolo has he gets to choose where he goes basically after next year. So if the team injury comes up, I mean, he could even just see an opportunity and go to that team right away. I mean, get a starting spot. He has the talent for it. So
What are the
I don't-
chances if this year, say Trey Lance has 2 or 3 games in a row that throws a couple picks, doesn't look great? What are the chances we see Jimmy come in and play a game or 2?
that was my fear of drafting Trey Lance. 'cause I think
70%.
that could actually happen. Yeah.
I'd say it's 70%. I would be confident in because look, and I know Jimmy G's proven to win you football games, and that might sound weird, that might sound dumb, but I know he won't put up the fantasy points or be that fantasy guy we want, but Jimmy G is going to win you games. He's gotten them to the big games. He hasn't won them all, as any quarterback has not, but he has gotten you there, and I think that we could see him in this year. I certainly wouldn't be
beaten-
looking at fantasy.
He's beaten some good teams in the playoffs too, hasn't he?
He has. Even though he's
Good
played
one, Jared.
horrendous.
Yeah.
That was insightful, Jared. We do appreciate that. But I think that's going to wrap it up here for us guys on this Tuesday afternoon. Kind of hit through the announcements, Instagram and Twitter at Drew Sports Crew. Of course, go find us there. And then we had all of our personal ones, Thrive Fantasy. You can check us out. Zach, Jared, any good bets you guys are running for week 1? Any new ones? Anything there?
Not really. I just waiting for week 1 to come along. I think I have like $50 worth of bets in right now. So hopefully
That's
those
it.
cash
Zach
out.
has. Zach, how much you got in for week 1? A little too much, maybe, but
Quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit.
why
Zach
not?
could
Why not
be
join him?
he could win a couple thousand, couldn't he?
If everything hits, it'll be over 1,000.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and we'll see that. His journey to millions going right now. But that'll wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, along with Zach Roush and Jared Valesky. So thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Riley, especially. So thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, The Journey to a Million, the perfect podcast for you.